Hello everyone, you are on the channel Living Cyprus, Surkon Estate, and I'm Fariza. Welcome to Northern Cyprus. Here you can enjoy beautiful views, warm sea and hospitality of the locals. Today's video will be useful for those who are pregnant and going to give birth to their child in Northern Cyprus. Watch this video to the end and we will give you all information that you need. There are several public and private hospitals in Northern Cyprus. Both of them can boast of qualified medical staff and all the necessary modern medical equipment. For example, in one of the private clinics in Lefkosha, the range of services offered is so wide that the territory of the hospital itself looks like a small town. As a rule, there are more patients in public clinics, which means you need to be ready to spend your time in a queue, waiting for your turn. If you prefer to come at the appointed time and pass the examination quietly, then probably you will like a private clinic more. While watching this video, you may still have questions, so please write them under this video. We read everything and we will try to make a new video and ask your questions. Olesia, hello. Tell us about your experience, please. I know that this was your first experience. Surely you had a lot of questions, worries. Tell us, please, how did you communicate with the doctor? What language did you speak?
I communicated in Russian. We always had an interpreter at every appointment, and an interpreter was also present during childbirth, although it was impossible to take her with us. But the doctor agreed.
So there were no problems in communication at all?
There has never been at all. Everything is always clear and competent. Different interpreters could be present at the appointment each time. Everyone is kind. They are professionals in their field.
How often did you go to the doctor's appointment?
At first, twice a week. The closer the time was to the deadline, I visited the doctor once a week, and a week before giving birth every day.
Did you have to take a lot of tests?
No, I just took a general blood test. No additional tests were prescribed. Most likely, they would have been appointed if it was necessary. According to the results of the blood test, the doctor prescribed pills that needed to be taken.
I suppose they were vitamins.
Yes, I had low hemoglobin.
Did your doctor recommend you to visit any other specialists?
No, I didn't go to any of the specialists, apart from my doctor. Probably they would have sent it if there was a need for it. Only every appointment I had an ultrasound. Toward the end of the term, in addition to ultrasound, ECG of the child's heart was also performed.
Olesia, how did you pay for pregnancy management, and did you use any discount packages?
No, I didn't use any packages. Since I was already in the middle of my term when we arrived, I paid for every appointment. You pay for one appointment, the second one is free. You need to pay for ECG of the child's heart.
So each appointment you paid for the diagnosis of the child's heart, right?
Yes, and if it's just a doctor's appointment, there I pay one time. The second one is free. The third time I pay, the fourth one is free. It was very convenient, and the price is absolutely adequate.
So the moment of your baby's birth came. How did everything happen? Did everything go according to plan?
Well, of course not everything is according to the plan. Initially, natural childbirth was planned. Initially, the doctor asked me what kind of birth I want. I said natural. He didn't have any questions, but as a result, it was not possible to give birth to a child naturally, and a cesarean was performed. But no one persuaded me to do this, although I was told here that everyone here is being offered a cesarean section. It is not true. All according to the indications. I had a statement, so they performed an operation.
What are your general impressions about medicine and doctors in North Cyprus?
I'm thrilled. I really liked everything because everyone is very, very friendly. There was no escalation of the situation. It was very important to me. That is, I felt safe. There was no fear when we went to the hospital. I liked that the doctor took an interpreter with him for the operation. Although in Nicosia, we were told that outsiders shouldn't be present. That the doctor noticed swelling on my leg at the reception, although I didn't tell him anything about it. I accidentally discolorated my leg. He noticed it right away, and it surprised me. What is prescribed here on the third day or after Caesarean, most likely in Russia for longer? I want to thank my doctor Dougun and all the medical staff of the nearest clinic, interpreter Anna, Inna and Janet. They are very good, kind people, professionals in their field, and Dr. Dougun is a doctor from God.
What would you advise expectant mothers who are planning childbirth in North Cyprus?
The main thing is not to be afraid of anything. The medicine here is at the highest level. Good, kind specialists. Everything will go as it should be.
Well, we wish your baby and you health, patience, happiness on this beautiful island.
Thank you from the heart.
Hello, Dr. Dougun. First, I want to thank you for taking your time to answer our questions.
Welcome. Glad to meet you.
We're shooting this video for women who want to become moms on this beautiful island in North Cyprus. And the first question is how to register in a women's clinic. What tests do you need to take?
One thing when a pregnant patient comes, and the other is when she comes to find out if she is pregnant or not. Perhaps someone is planning to get pregnant and is wondering, am I ready to give birth? What should I do for this? And they come to us. I am doing certain tests to find the reasons why she can't get pregnant. Later during pregnancy, we will need to perform other tests. So there are two types of patients. The first is already pregnant and another one is planning a pregnancy. Based on the type of patient, I conduct an examination.
The second question is, if a woman is already being observed in her country, but she is going to move to North Cyprus and give birth to a child here, does she need to bring the results of tests, ultrasound, translate them into English or Turkish?
If a patient from abroad decides to come here, then she needs to bring the test results, medical pictures, all the documents that she has. There is no need to translate documents, because we have translators. We have good translators. I study the package of documents that the patient brings. Then I conduct an examination. If there are not enough tests or if I see some problem, I will send for additional tests and will monitor the patient before giving birth. All the necessary analysis will be done here since this is university. Tests, childbirth, medical care, we have it all. As I have already said, this is a university. If the patient decides to have a baby here, she needs to be registered before 7 or 7.5 months of pregnancy, and we will lead here until the birth. Take delivery, then discharge from the hospital.
There is an opinion that doing ultrasound often during pregnancy is harmful to the child. Please explain what is the opinion of doctors on this issue in North Cyprus. I know that ultrasound is performed here quite often.
In the past, when there was no ultrasound, a manual examination of pregnancy was performed. The weight and general condition could be more or less stated, but it was impossible to find out if there was a pathology. Now, thanks to ultrasound, we can get information about whether there is pathology in the fetus already in the first 3 months of pregnancy. And it's all thanks to ultrasound. If you know how ultrasound works, you can understand that there is no harm from it. Ultrasound has no radiation. Ultrasound works with sound waves, just like aircraft's radars. What is radar? It sends out a sound wave. When it hits something, this sound wave is reflected and recorded. Thus, an ultrasound, a sound wave, is sent to the fetus in the womb and we fix the image. Therefore, even if you do an ultrasound every day, it will not harm the baby. Let our patients be calm. On the contrary, it's better to be checked more often to determine the pathology in time.
One can offer here that cesarean section is welcome in many countries, even if there are no serious indications for it. It would be interesting to know the opinion of doctors in North Cyprus on this issue.
What do you think is considered a normal birth? I don't know how many deliveries I have taken today. Maybe 10,000. It's about like a small town. And I know what women in labor go through after natural childbirth and what women in labor go through after cesarean section. Most women who had a natural birth later faced many problems, both with female organs and with sexuality. If the patient's body is ready for natural childbirth, if the baby is not very large and is in the right position, if small pains begin to appear 20 days or a month before delivery, that is, if the labor phase proceeds slowly and gradually, then there will be no problems with natural childbirth. However, in recent years I have seen less and less similar processes in childbirth, so that everything goes right.
There is always a Russian-speaking interpreter at the medical appointment. And what about the delivery itself? Is it possible to be accompanied by an interpreter?
Our clinic has a sufficient number of translators necessary for our patients. Languages such as Russian, German, English and other languages are available. And if our patient does not speak Turkish, our translators are always with us, helping patients in the operating room, in the maternity ward. For example, we went to the last birth together with the translator Anna, and she held the patient's hand so that she wouldn't don't worry. That's wonderful. And also our experienced delivery nurses always inspire confidence into our patients.
The next question is, how many days is the expectant mother in the hospital?
The patient has arrived. We observe it for up to 9 months. After the birth of the child, we discharge her, but it's not too easy. After all, we are used to the patient, to our dear guest. I'm kidding, of course. In the past, when a patient had a natural birth or cesarean section, she was hospitalized for a week. But nowadays, hospitalization, surgery, taking medications have all become much easier. A woman who gives birth naturally will be discharged the next day, in 24 hours, if there is no bleeding, pain or other complications. Similarly, patients after cesarean section can be sent home after 36 hours. If they walk by themselves, they eat by themselves and they do not bleed.
And the last question. If a pregnant woman decides to go to her country and give birth to a child there, are there any documents issued to her that she can show to her doctor in the country?
In the process of pregnancy management, which we are observing, there will be printouts of ultrasound examination, blood tests and other tests. They can all be handed over to the patient. To travel by plane, you may need a certificate stating that there are no restrictions for the flight. If the patient wishes, we can record the analysis we have done and the examinations we have carried out on a piece of paper in the form of an epicris, as well as information about how many weeks of pregnancy there was when the patient came to us and the expected date of delivery. There is no problem with this.
Thank you for your answers. What would you like to advise expectant mothers who are still worried?
And when they walk down the road, do they also worry? Because suddenly a stone can fall from the balcony, a stone can fly out from under the car, and the car can knock down. There are dangers everywhere. And a pregnant woman is already worried because she is pregnant, because there is life inside her. She is also worried about her life. And there may also be bleeding during childbirth. There may be complications. However, she should not worry about this, since we have everything to lead a healthy pregnancy. As I said, our team is ready. Let them come to us and give birth with a calm soul. We will take care of them, and they take their babies in their arms.
Have a nice day and success in your wonderful profession.
Thank you, welcome again, see you.
Dear viewers, I know that some people are interested in the topic of insurance, whether it covers the cost of pregnancy and childbirth. I clarified this question in one of the local banks. It covers, and it's quite profitable. To use such insurance, you need to insure yourself 6 months before the planned pregnancy. Hello, Tatiana. Can you tell us what surprised you in a pleasant way?
First of all, I was surprised by the attitude of the doctors. My doctor, Dr. Dogun, his reverent attitude towards me. It felt like I was his daughter. He always worried, asked how I was doing, how I was feeling, if I was doing well. We spoke different languages. I'm in Russian, he is in Turkish. We always had a Russian-speaking translator with us, but I saw in his eyes the attitude towards me, kindness, and his attitude. I was also surprised that you need to come to an appointment here once a month. I have experience already in Russia. I'm a mother of 3 children. I had 2 pregnancies before. I gave birth in Sochi and in Moscow. There I went to an appointment twice a week, and here once a month. If you are doing well, you come to an appointment once a month and undergo an ultrasound. And at the last stage of the ECG of the heart. In Russia, I took a lot of tests. I constantly donated blood, various pathology tests. I was constantly in some kind of movement. Appointments at the dentist, therapist, other doctors. There were a lot of tests. First analysis. I passed the first test at 30 weeks and before the operation itself. I had a cesarean section. The 2 previous ones, I also had a cesarean. As a result, I donated blood 2 times during the entire pregnancy, an ECG of the heart at the last term.
At what time did you make an appointment at doctors at women's consultation?
We came from Russia. I had second trimester, 22 weeks at the time of arrival in Northern Cyprus, and I immediately started looking for a clinic. You asked me what surprised me. I was surprised that you don't need to take tests. You come once a month. The fact that there are no maternity hospitals here. There are hospitals here, but these hospitals have maternity rooms. Everything is in one place here. I was also surprised by the fact that I can take with me not only my husband as an escort, but also children. We moved to Cyprus recently, and I didn't know where to leave my children. We have no grandparents here. No one. That is, when we asked if it's possible to take the children with us, we were told of course. In the room we had a bed, a folding chair, and they put another chair for children. Do you know what surprised me? That I was given the choice of anesthesia. I was told that I could choose general anesthesia or an epidural system. In Russia, I wasn't given such a choice. The doctor himself determined which anesthesia to use. He decided for himself. I gave birth to my first child in Sochi, and there I had general anesthesia. The doctor decided so and didn't explain why. During the second pregnancy, the anesthesia was epidural. The doctor also decided. Here I was given a choice. The anesthesiologist, of course, recommends epidural anesthesia. This is because it's safer for the child, for my body. Fewer consequences. They give you the right to choose. I really liked it. I was also surprised by the nutrition. Let's say in Russia hospitals, they don't give salads, cucumbers, tomatoes, nuts, citrus fruits. All of them are considered an allergen. Here, after the operation, after 2-3 hours, they brought me a large portion of food. There was salad, honey, which is strictly prohibited in Russia. I remember when I had an operation in Russia, it was during the day, and only in the evening I was allowed to drink a glass of liquid oatmeal porridge and water. That's all. No matter how much you want to eat. That's all.
So there is no feeling that you are in the hospital at all? No tension, no prohibitions?
No.
It's like you feel like you are at home?
Yes.
Tatiana, please share with the audience what is included in the discount package for childbirth.
I purchased a childbirth package. The price included surgery, anesthesia, 2 days stay in the room with an accompanying person, 3 meals a day, medicine for the mom and for the child if necessary. A gynecologist examination, a pediatrician examination are also included here.
The question of vaccinations. A lot of moms are interested in what kind of vaccinations are here and whether it is possible to refuse them.
I also asked my attendant physician. I was worried about it too. When I went to the hospital, I was told that I could either agree or refuse vaccinations. I agreed. In the hospital itself, we were given a vaccine against hepatitis B. This is on the child's first birthday. They also checked the hearing and took blood from the heel for pathology. They didn't do anything else. These vaccinations are recorded in the child's card, which will be given to you at discharge. The next vaccination is carried out in 1 month. This is hepatitis B. It is also recorded in the vaccination calendar. The same principle as in Russia.
Can you share information on how to get a birth certificate and a foreign passport for a child?
We applied for a birth certificate and got a call from a consulate and said that we were refused. Because my passport is issued in my maiden name, I cannot issue a child on my passport. Therefore, I needed to change my passport and then apply for the documents of the child. I can immediately tell you what documents are needed for registration of birth certificates. I have already undergone this procedure. You are filling out an application. It's available on the website of a consulate of the Russian Federation. This is a form and a sample application. This is nothing complicated there. You fill in the standard data. It's necessary to attach a birth certificate from the maternity hospital, a certificate from Muhtar, passports of both parents, foreign passports, eternal passports, a marriage certificate of their copies. If the parents are not married, then the certificate of paternity. It needs to be done in advance. A birth certificate is issued within 2 weeks. Next, you can apply for a child's passport. Just add a birth certificate and plus 2 color photos. The most interesting thing is that a passport for a child is made for 1 day, and if I make a passport for myself, it will take 1.5 to 2 months.
Tatiana, what would you recommend to expectant mothers?
I advise you not to be afraid of anything. Northern Cyprus is a wonderful country. The climate here is very favorable for pregnancy and childbirth. The sea, fresh vegetables, fruit, kind people. There is nothing to be afraid of. All questions and everything is solved. And even if your doctor is a Turk and he speaks a different language, but we are all people and understand each other. Sometimes you don't even need words. It's just that you feel and you understand each other. They are the same people as us. They just speak a different language. And we have their own culture, just like we have our own culture in Russia. If the soul asks for changes, you want to live by the sea with a good climate, you need to try to come here. And you will always have time to go back to your country, I think.
So, you were on the channel Living Cyprus, Surkon Estate. Here you will be the first to know about new projects of the real estate developers in the Northern Cyprus, about secondary housing and about life on this beautiful island.